Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get you those insights you really need. Today, we are absolutely plunging headfirst into, well, one of the most talked about, maybe even polarizing questions in crypto right now. Penguin to $1. Some folks say it's just a total pipe dream. Impossible. But then there's this other group growing louder, it seems, saying it's not just possible, it's like inevitable for this new meme coin. Okay, let's unpack this properly. Our mission today to really dig into Penguin. It's a fascinating new player in the whole meme coin game. We're going to scrutinize its potential path every twist and turn towards that super ambitious $1 target. What you're getting here is a shortcut, basically, a fast pass to understanding how these meme coin surges actually work, those tricky mechanics behind them. And crucially, does Penguin really have that, secret sauce for a massive, maybe even life-changing run? Forget scrolling endless feeds. We're boiling it all down for you.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating right off the bat with Pengu is how it fits so neatly into this very specific high-energy niche in crypto. It's a Solana-based meme coin, right? The theme is penguins, obviously. And that puts it smack bang in the middle of this, well, incredibly successful, if often chaotic, animal meme coin wave. I mean, think about the big ones that kind of define this whole space. You've got Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, then the newer Solana stars like Bonk, and of course, Double Off Dog of Hat. They all grabbed huge attention, massive market caps, and yeah, frankly, made some people very wealthy. Penguin right now is trading way, way below $1. So that brings us straight to the core question for this deep dive. Can it realistically pull off that kind of, exponential jump, like a 10x, maybe even a crazy 100x, to actually hit $1? We need to lay the groundwork today, really dissect that complex dance between community belief, how fast information spreads, and the underlying financial pipes that will decide its fate. It's definitely not just about a cute penguin picture. It's network effects, it's psychology, it's raw market dynamics.
Absolutely. And that's a key point. It's way more than just the cute icon, although, yeah, that helps, right? Let's really get into Penguin itself. It's a native Solana token. That's not just a tech detail, it's strategic. Solana, as probably most of you listening know, is famous for its speed, super fast, and really low transaction fees. That makes it this incredibly fertile ground, almost like a petri dish, for these kinds of fast-moving community things.
Exactly. Perfect environment.
Unlike the older chains, where high fees can just kill any kind of micro trading or casual speculation, Solana lets people trade quickly, make lots of small buys, jump on trends almost instantly, which is precisely what meme coins feed on.
Mm.
And like you said, it's waddling right into this animal meme coin wave, kind of hoping to draft behind Doge, Shiba, Bonk, WIF. The target, that audacious $1 goal, means a 10x to 100x jump from where it is now. So for you listening, the question bubbling up should be, how feasible is that really? What levers actually need pulling to get anywhere near it?
That is exactly the right question. It's so important to get that meme coins like Pengu, they operate on a totally different model for success compared to, say, a big layer one project focused on tech or some complex DeFi protocol. They don't win primarily on like technical breakthroughs or real world utility in the usual sense. No, their success is built on this potent mix, almost like alchemy, where the whole thing is way bigger than the parts. Community strength, pure virality, and solid liquidity. But the real magic, the alchemy, isn't just having those things. It's getting the sequence right, activating them, sustaining them. For Pengu, the order of operations for those three, critical. Now, looking at Penguin's early days, we are seeing some, let's say, promising signs. It's building a social footprint, on Twitter, on Telegram, vital channels for this stuff. And maybe more importantly, it seems to be embedding itself in Solana's meme culture, which is already super vibrant and quick to adopt new trends.
Right, fitting into that existing scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, hitting $1 isn't just about a price magically appearing on a chart. It needs sustained, almost relentless hype. It needs a constant flow of new retail investors, people drawn in by a simple, compelling story. And crucially, it needs big players, the whales, to participate significantly, often in a coordinated way. These whales aren't just passive investors, they're often the early backers. And at key moments, they can either fuel massive pumps or, trigger huge dumps. Their continued presence and sort of alignment with the project's goals, just as vital as the retail crowd's enthusiasm.
But when you say community strength, isn't that sometimes just a nice way of saying it's an echo chamber? Like, how do we tell real virality from just, coordinated shilling, especially early on? That line feels really blurry sometimes.
That's a fantastic point, and it's a core challenge. The difference often boils down to the source and the spread of the buzz. An echo chamber mostly reinforces itself, driven by a maybe smaller core group. True virality, though, It shows organic reach beyond that initial group. It's when you start seeing Pengu memes or talk popping up in unexpected places online, outside the usual crypto circles, maybe mainstream social feeds, gaming communities, that kind of thing.
Okay, spreading wider.
Yeah, and it's also about the speed and creativity of how it spreads. Organic virality sparks lots of different remixed content. Shilling often just feels repetitive, kind of forced. We look for things like new types of users joining the community, or maybe non-crypto influencers picking it up organically. That's much harder to fake.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets really interesting for me. And probably where, the rubber meets the road. The economics underneath it all. For any of this to stick, we have to talk about the numbers game. Penguin's tokenomics, its supply dynamics. Now, most of you probably get circulating supply, but what's often missed in meme coins is how that supply can be actively managed or even manipulated, and the huge impact that has on price.
Big time.
We're talking the critical difference between the total token supply, the maximum possible number ever, and the circulating supply, what's actually out there being traded. These float, the number of tokens easy to buy or sell, can drastically affect the price. So think about this for those of you tracking Penguin. If it has a relatively low float, or maybe even more importantly, if it uses active burning mechanisms permanently removing tokens, how could that speed up its run towards $1? This engineered scarcity, right? Making each token theoretically worth more if demand stays up or grows.
And this brings up a really important question when we think about that $1 target. We can ground this whole discussion by looking at what's happened before. Comparative analysis. We absolutely need to compare Penguin's hypothetical market cap at $1 against the actual peak market caps of coins like Bonk or YFF. Let's run a quick hypothetical. Say Penguin has, 100 billion tokens circulating. Hitting $1 means a $100 billion market cap.
Wow. Okay.
Now, why is this comparison so crucial? Because it gives us a reality check. Dogecoin, at its absolute peak, had a market cap over $80 billion. Shiba Inu hit around $40 billion. More recently on Solana, Bonk went past $3 billion. WF and soared over $4 billion. So if Pengu hitting 1 implies a market cap, say, in that $40–80 billion range, well, okay, there's historical precedent, at least in theory. But if it needs, like in our example, a $100 billion market cap with its current supply, that suggests a massively harder path. It would need unprecedented and almost astronomical growth for its category.
Right, puts it into perspective.
Exactly. This comparison isn't just academic. It helps us grasp the sheer volume of money, the capital inflow, needed to reach that kind of market cap. It means it's not just a few thousand enthusiasts getting excited. It requires billions upon billions flowing in, sustained investment from a huge number of people, often people new to crypto entirely.
Okay, quick question then. If a low float and burning tokens are so great for the price, why doesn't every meme coin just mint hardly any tokens and burn them like crazy? What's the catch? What are the downsides to doing that?
That's a really insightful question. Gets right to the heart of token design. While scarcity can definitely push price up, having an extremely low supply or super aggressive burning can backfire. It can cause severe liquidity problems. Think about it. If there are hardly any tokens available, any decent-sized buy or sell order could cause wild price swings, extreme volatility.
Ah, okay. Slippage?
Exactly. Massive slippage. That makes it incredibly difficult for larger investors or even big retail holders to get in or out without moving the price against themselves dramatically.
Yeah.
That can scare off serious money. Plus, aggressive burns, especially if they're controlled by the team, can raise questions about centralization and governance. Who decides when and how much to burn? That can be a red flag for people who value decentralization.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the ideal is finding that sweet spot. Enough scarcity to create some upward pressure, but enough liquidity so the market actually functions smoothly.
It is fascinating, though, how these meme coins, often just dismissed as, pure gambling, actually play this deeper role in the whole crypto ecosystem. They're not just about quick flips. They often act as these liquidity gateways, I like to call them. Basically, they're these really engaging on-ramps that pull totally new people and fresh money onto the blockchain, in this case Solana, and then maybe into the wider Web3 world. And for retail investors, the appeal is just so strong. That simple story, Penguin to $1. It's easy to get. It taps into that lottery ticket dream,
Yeah, the aspirational aspect.
It's relatable. It's a low barrier to enter a world that can feel super complex otherwise. And that simplicity, it drives adoption and engagement in a way tacocolally complicated, and brick papers just can't. But it also creates this constant dilemma for anyone thinking of investing, right? You're always balancing that undeniable pull of the fast hype cycle against the fact that, well, long-term survival for these things is often really elusive. Are you playing the short game, hoping for a quick pop, or are you betting on some kind of longer-term evolution?
And If we connect that to the bigger picture, it really shines a light on the deep psychology involved. Meme coins tap into something fundamental about us, collective feeling, that powerful sense of belonging to a community, and yeah, that very human desire for a quick win, a shortcut. Their virality isn't just marketing fluff. It's this powerful engine, almost like a Trojan horse, bringing a whole new generation into crypto. Even if they come in just speculating, chasing FOMO, it expands the whole market. More people get exposed, and maybe some of them stick around and explore other, more utility-focused projects later.
Kind of democratizing speculation in a way.
In a way, yes. It makes these high-risk, high-reward plays accessible and even socially acceptable in a way traditional finance rarely does. But, and this is crucial, we absolutely have to encourage critical thinking here. That penguin to $1 narrative, it's powerful, it's sketchy, absolutely. But listeners must weigh the huge, often severe risks. These aren't just speculative, they are highly speculative. They're subject to insane volatility, often totally irrational swings, and frequently lack the kind of fundamental value you'd look for in traditional assets or even many other cryptos. Understanding the psychological pull is one thing, understanding the financial cliff edge is another. Both are essential.
Okay, to really get a handle on Pengu's potential, whether $1 is even remotely possible, we have to look at the giants, the ones who blazed the trail. Let's start with the legend. Dogecoin's crazy 2021 rally. DOGE hit, what, $2.73? An absolutely staggering price, fueled almost entirely by pure, raw meme culture and those high-profile shout-outs, especially from Elon Musk.
Yeah, the Musk effect was undeniable.
It wasn't just finance, it felt like a cultural moment, right? His tweets, often totally random, created this global inside joke. People wanted to be part of it, almost regardless of the financial logic.
Completely. It transcended investing.
So what's the takeaway? It's the ultimate case study. Proof, really, that narrative and social momentum alone, without complex tech or utility, can send a coin's value absolutely vertical. But was Doge a blueprint or just a unique event, a comment? What specific things did it do that penguins could actually learn from beyond just hoping a billionaire tweets about penguins?
That's the key question. Replicable blueprint or unique phenomena. And you're right to push on that. While the narrative was the engine, the initial fuel was actually its incredibly low price point fractions of a penny. That made it super accessible for millions of ordinary people to buy in. Low risk, high potential reward felt like. Combine that with its funny, non-serious image, and it just took off, defying all traditional finance rules. The real insight from Doge isn't just that narrative works, but how it created this global, participatory cultural moment. It was the ultimate underdog story.
Right, everyone loves an underdog.
Exactly, and it resonated way beyond the usual crypto crowd. Then mainstream media jumped on it, which amplified the virality, created this feedback loop. More attention, more buyers, more media, more attention.
A self-feeding hype machine.
Precisely. Fueled by genuine cultural connection and, yes, celebrity amplification. That's what Pengu needs to understand. The critical question becomes, does Pengu have that kind of broad, easy-to-get cultural appeal? Does it have the potential for organic celebrity notice, not just paid stuff? That widespread, simple appeal is incredibly tough to manufacture. Often it just happens.
Okay, moving from one giant to the next, Shiba Inu, another absolute beast in the meme coin world. Shiba's rise was just meteoric, hit a peak market cap around $40 billion, which is just insane. What made Shiba stand out, maybe beyond just another dog coin, was its strategy. It mixed that intense community hype with active token burning.
The burn mechanism was key.
Yeah, those burns were a game changer. They created this, price perception leverage. By constantly taking tokens out of circulation, it made the rest seem scarcer and so more valuable over time, even while its actual utility was still being figured out. It was a brilliant psychological move, really resonated with holders, gave them a reason to believe value was increasing separate from immediate use cases.
And what's really fascinating there is how ShapeShib showed a potential evolution for a meme coin. Beyond just the meme, it actively tried to build an ecosystem, right, with things like Shibarium, their own layer 2. It shows that while the meme might be the spark, a strategy around perceived scarcity like burns, combined with even the promise or hint of future utility, can offer a path to more sustained value. Something beyond just the initial crazy hype.
Giving it longer legs, maybe.
Potentially. So it raises that question for Pengu. Could it adopt a similar burn strategy? Not just for quick pumps, but as an ongoing thing to build scarcity perception. Or, maybe more ambitiously, could it start hinting at broader utility, ecosystem plans? Even if they're just ideas now, it could emulate Ishib's attempt at long-term relevance. Even starting as pure meme, having some kind of roadmap, even vague, could attract more committed long-term holders. SHIB demonstrated that utility for meme coins can be a bit fuzzy. Often it's more about future potential and community engagement than what it does right now.
Okay, let's bring it right back to Pengu's home turf, Solana, and look at the new kids on the block, Bonk and wife. Think's surge in early 2024 was wild, partly fueled by those big airdrops to the Solana community, right? Instantly created this widespread, invested user base.
Yeah, smart distribution tactic.
And it didn't just pump its own price, it genuinely seemed to inject energy and liquidity into the whole Solana ecosystem. Showed how a native meme coin could actually, lift all boats.
Definitely boosted Solana's profile, too.
Then there's Whiff Love Dog with Hat. Its story is just pure community meme magic. That image, the dog with the hat, it was just so absurd it became this global thing.
It really captured the internet's imagination.
It's unique community content, often really funny, plus getting onto major exchanges later. That just catapulted it into the top tier. I remember seeing that hat everywhere. Even my non-crypto friends were asking, what's this dog? Maybe that sheer absurdity was part of the magic. So it makes you wonder, could Pengu be the WAF of 2025? Could it copy that kind of rapid, meme-fueled blast-off straight from Solana?
And this is exactly where Solana's specific advantages shine for meme coins. It's why Bonk and Weemglam are such powerful examples for Penguin. The low fees, the high speed on Solana, it's the perfect playground for the kind of rapid trading and speculation meme coins need.
Frictionless, almost.
Pretty much. Users can make tons of small trades without getting killed by fees. That fosters a really active, engaged community. Plus, Solana has this growing, super engaged developer and user base already. It's fertile ground for new memes to sprout and spread like crazy. So when you connect the dots, Bonk and overhyped really highlight the power of being native to the platform. They show how strong, authentic community buzz, combined with the catalyst of big exchange listings, provides a direct blueprint for the kind of explosive growth Penguin needs.
The Solana infrastructure just makes it easier, faster.
Exactly. It makes those viral loops quicker, more accessible, and ultimately more powerful for spreading new meme coins. Although it's worth adding, that same speed can be a double-edged sword. Makes flash crashes or rug pulls easier too, which might put off more cautious investors. Need to be aware of that downside.
All right, let's really get into it now with some hard numbers. Talking about Penguin hitting $1, just looking at the price isn't enough, not even close. We absolutely have to look at its market capitalization, the total value of all the tokens actually out there. It's a way better measure of its real scale, how much money it actually represents.
Crucial metric, absolutely.
So let's do the hypothetical again. If Penguin hits $1, what's its market cap? Let's stick with that earlier example. Say 50 billion tokens circulating hits $1. That's a $50 billion market cap. $50 billion.
November.
And this is where we challenge you listening. How does that stack up against the peaks of DOGE, SI, BONK, WIF? Does $50 billion put it comfortably in their league, suggesting, okay, it's happened before? Or is it a total outlier, needing a completely unprecedented amount of money to flow in, something maybe just not realistic for this kind of asset?
That's exactly how to frame it. Market cap tells the real story. So, to give that context again, Dogecoin peaked over $80 billion. Shiba Inu, around $40 billion. The Solana ones, BONK, over $3 billion. WIF, over $4 billion. Those were huge surges, but still an order of magnitude lower than the absolute peaks of Doge and SHIB. Now, if Penguin needs a $50 billion market cap to hit $1 with our hypothetical 50B supply, that puts it right up there with Shiba Inu's peak. A truly massive achievement. Possible? Maybe. But incredibly difficult. If it needed, say, $100 billion or more, then it starts looking extremely challenging, requiring something well beyond historical precedent for its category.
So the precedent exists maybe up to the SIG level, but it's still a monumental task.
Monumental is the right word, and this raises that important question again. Think about the sheer volume of capital needed to get to $50 billion. Billions and billions pouring into one highly speculative asset that needs huge interest, sustained buying, broad participation, often fueled by new money coming into crypto, not just existing players shuffling funds around.
Okay, that leads nicely into another layer we need to look at, something often hidden but super important, on-chain wallet concentration. This basically tells us who actually holds the Penguin tokens. How spread out is the ownership? Is it really decentralized?
Distribution matters.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, it means finding out how much of the total supply is held by just a few top wallets, the whales. And here's where it gets really interesting, because this has huge implications for stability and price. If a huge chunk is held by just a few addresses, That makes it vulnerable. A few whales dumping could crash the price instantly, wiping out smaller holders.
So whale dump risk,
Yeah.
classic problem.
But conversely, maybe it signals powerful, coordinated buying potential if those whales work together or just buy more. It's a real double-edged sword, something traders absolutely need to be aware of. It's like a window into potential manipulation.
Precisely. Reading that data is key for understanding stability and manipulation potential. Big whale presence can definitely drive pumps. They drop large buy orders, market moves fast, great if you're already in. But like you said, that power cuts both ways. The risk they decide to cash out, maybe after a big run-up, causing a sudden sharp crash. That risk is always there, hanging over the asset.
Sort of Damocles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this metric helps gauge overall market health. Generally, more distributed ownership supply spread across more unique wallets means a healthier, more resilient community. It means the price isn't solely dependent on the whims of a few big players. It usually reflects wider, more organic adoption. And looking at wallet concentration isn't just about risk now. It often tells you the origin story. Who were the very early backers? How much influence do they still have? That could be a strategic edge if they're aligned or a massive threat if they're not.
Right. So beyond the financials, the ownership structure, we also need to factor in those intangible forces, the real essence of a meme coin. That's where this idea of a social sentiment index comes in. It's our attempt to measure the unmeasurable, right? The raw virality of the meme, how deep the community engagement really goes, the general public vibe around Penguin.
Quantifying the buzz.
Exactly. We look at things like growth in Twitter mentions, how fast the Telegram group is growing, chatter on Reddit, TikTok, whatever, and the overall virality curve of Penguin memes themselves. Are they being shared, remixed, talked about organically online? Is the buzz breaking out beyond just the hardcore crypto crowd?
These are the fuzzy but vital questions. And what's fascinating here is how often these social metrics lead price action in meme coins. They can be predictive. Strong, organic social buzz frequently comes before big price moves because it's showing growing interest, potential future buyers lining up. It's like a leading indicator for demand.
Seeing the wave before it hits the shore.
Kind of, yeah. And it's crucial to tell the difference between that organic, community-driven virality and just paid shilling. Organic stuff, driven by real humor, genuine shared feeling, cultural connection that's way more powerful and lasting than any paid promotion for making a meme truly successful. So for you, listening, think about it. How do you personally sense the buzz around a new project? What tells you something has genuinely caught fire versus just being pushed hard by marketers? The social sentiment index isn't just taking the temperature of the hype, it's like a seismograph, trying to detect those real cultural tremors that can shift value faster than any traditional fundamental.
Okay, finally, let's touch on a super important technical piece, DX liquidity depth. Sounds techie, I know, but it's actually pretty straightforward and vital if a project wants serious price growth. DX liquidity depth basically means how much money is sitting on decentralized exchanges ready to buy or sell Pengu without causing chaos.
How deep is the order book, essentially?
Right. How much capital is there to soak up big buy orders without the price just instantly shooting up? Or conversely, how much can be sold before the price tanks? So for you, if you suddenly wanted to buy $1 million worth of Pengu, what stops that order itself from sending the price to the moon instantly? That's where liquidity depth comes in, right?
Exactly. Thick order books are key.
Robust liquidity is like the oil in the engine for sustainable price moves.
Absolutely. You need deep liquidity for everything. For sustained pumps, yes, but also just for traders to get in and out efficiently without getting hammered by slippage. Low liquidity, that's a massive red flag. It means extreme volatility. Even small trades can cause huge price swings. Big orders face terrible slippage you buy or sell at a much worse price than you expected.
Makes big moves impossible or very costly.
Totally. In that situation, hitting a $1 target becomes almost practically impossible without an absolutely enormous, maybe unrealistic market impact from the buying pressure required. If we connect this to the bigger picture, liquidity is tied directly to overall market health. It determines if a meme coin can scale, if it can attract serious, larger investors. If you're a fund or even just a wealthy individual wanting to put real size into Pengu, shallow liquidity isn't just annoying, it's a complete non-starter.
Can't get in, can't get out easily.
Exactly. Without deep liquidity, it stays this fragile, easily manipulated asset, prone to wild swings that mostly benefit the fastest, maybe most predatory traders.
Okay, so after digging through all that data and context, let's switch gears a bit. Let's put on the optimist hat and map out the bull case. What specific things, what catalysts could actually propel Pengu towards that magic $1 mark? We've seen these work wonders before.
Potential accelerators.
First up, the big one, major exchange listings. Getting onto Binance, Coinbase, maybe key DX aggregators that find the best prices across different exchanges. A listing on one of those, game changer. Instantly increases access and perceived legitimacy for millions of potential new buyers. Opens up whole new pools of money.
Massive exposure increase.
Then viral meme campaigns. Not the forced stuff, but that organic, community-driven content that just clicks, spreads like wildfire because it's genuinely funny or taps into something
The
cultural.
unpredictable magic of memes.
And yeah, high-profile endorsements, the Elon Musk effect for Doge, right? Celebrity mentions, big influencer buys, they can have an outsized impact. We could also see ecosystem integration. Maybe Penguin finds a role in NFT communities or gets integrated into Solana games or metaverse projects, gives it another layer, some utility or relevance beyond just being a meme.
A reason to hold beyond speculation.
And finally, just plain old good market timing. Another big alt season where retail investors just flood into meme coins, generally lifting everything up, Penguin included, on a wave of pure speculative excitement.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is digging into why these catalysts work so well. It's not just checking boxes. Take exchange listings. They're powerful not just for exposure, but because they drastically lower the barrier for entry. Suddenly, buying Pengu isn't this multi-step definitive process. It's a simple click and buy on an app millions already use. Huge difference.
Makes it easy for the masses.
Exactly. Viral campaigns, they're often totally unexpected. They hit because they're funny, shareable, they connect culturally in a way planned marketing often can't buy. Creates real self-sustaining buzz. And that idea of ecosystem integration, that's key to moving beyond just being a meme. Even a small hint of utility. Getting embedded in a popular NFT project, a game, it adds layers of perceived value, makes it feel stickier.
More than just a fleeting trend.
Right. Gives people another reason to hold. Maybe it attracts a different type of holder. The bull case for these coins isn't usually a straight line. It's this chaotic mix of network effects, lucky cultural timing, and smart market moves.
Okay, but we have to balance that. Need a dose of realism. Let's flip it and look at the bear case. What could stop Penguin dead in its tracks? What holds it back from $1? The hurdles are real, and frankly, they trip up most meme coins.
But potential roadblocks, very important.
Biggest one. Probably just lack of sustained hype, keeping that viral fire burning. It's incredibly hard. Crypto attention spans are notoriously short.
Momentum fades fast.
If that initial excitement dies down, growth just stalls. The collective belief evaporates quickly. Tied to that, not enough new retail money coming in. If the early crew can't pull in fresh buyers, the market cap can't grow. Simple as that.
Need continuous inflow.
Then the whale risk again. Big holders deciding to cash out, maybe after a nice pump, crashing the price and leaving smaller folks holding the bag.
Profit-taking can cascade.
Failing to get those major exchange listings we just talked about, that could seriously cap its potential, keep it stuck in a niche.
Limits the audience dramatically.
And of course, just bad market weather, a general crypto bear market, even just a significant correction, that tends to hammer speculative assets like meme coins first and hardest. Enthusiasm just vanishes overnight.
And this brings up that crucial question for anyone even thinking about this. How do you realistically weigh these huge risks against that glittering potential? We have to stress again, these are highly speculative, incredibly volatile assets. History is absolutely littered with meme coins that aimed for the moon and ended up crashing back to Earth, or worse. They often fall victim to exactly these problems.
The graveyard is large.
Very large. We've seen endless pump and dumps, especially with coins lacking real tech or a long-term plan. Understanding how those work is vital. So critical thinking here means not just getting swept up in the Penguin to $1 excitement, but staring those downside risks right in the face. A realistic view acknowledges that many, maybe most, investments like this can lead to big losses, even total loss of capital. It forces you to ask that fundamental question, doesn't it?
Right.
If the very things that can make a meme coin soar, pure hype, collective belief, are also its biggest weaknesses, what does that tell us about value itself in this digital age?
A lesson in market psychology, for sure.
A powerful one. Everyone involved should really internalize that. Hashtag outro and outro.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the deep dive, wasn't it? We really pulled back the layers on Penguin, looked at it from, well, pretty much every angle. We talked about community, virality, that almost mystical side. We got into the nitty-gritty of tokenomics. We drew lessons from the giants, Doge, Shiba, the Solana crew. We crunched the numbers market cap, liquidity. So what does it all mean for you listening right now? It means this meme coin world, it's complex, it's thrilling, absolutely, but it's packed with both unbelievable opportunity and, yeah, significant, sometimes brutal risk. So let's leave you with some food for thought, some questions to keep your own deep dive going. Do you think Penguin actually has what it takes? Can it join Deere, GE, and SEC in that billion-dollar meme club? Maybe even fly higher? Would you consider jumping into Penguin now? Or are you waiting, maybe hoping for a bigger dip? What do you really believe is more powerful in crypto today? Is it the raw, undeniable pull of the meme? Or is it the solid foundation of the underlying tech? And why do you lean that way? And the big one, if Penguin does somehow miraculously hit $1, what's your play? Cash out instantly. Or HODL on, dreaming of $2, $5.
Beyond just the price, what does this whole Pengu phenomenon, really all meme coins, tell us about how markets think about the sheer power of belief when people act together and about how digital communities are changing everything in this Web3 era? These are the questions that, for me, make this space just endlessly fascinating.
Indeed. It really comes down to finding that personal balance, doesn't it? Between the allure of potentially huge returns and acknowledging the very real risks involved in these highly speculative plays. Hopefully, our deep dive today, exploring both the optimistic view and the potential pitfalls with some real analysis, underscores why doing your own thorough research is so vital. Understanding the unique game being played with these assets is key. Remember, there's always more to learn, and thinking critically is your best defense in a world overflowing with information, and yeah, often misinformation too.
Couldn't agree more. And hey, if you're now hyped about Pengu, or maybe you just found this whole exploration of the wild meme coin universe as interesting as we did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't yet, seriously, it helps a ton, and definitely turn on those notifications. Your support genuinely helps us reach more people like you, boosts our visibility with the algorithms, you know how it works, and it lets us keep making quality crypto deep dives like this one. It helps the deep dive keep exploring what's next, cutting through all that noise for you. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we will see you on the next deep dive.